Okay, I'm safe. I'm driving.
Oh my Lord, guys. She is on while she's driving.
But the thing is, I can't, since I'm using my phone, I couldn't take the response. So, yeah. I'm almost in the house. I'm like 6 houses away from my house. So,
that's a hot mess. Why do we look alike? We both have on silver with a pink t-shirt.
Yes. Okay, I'm gone now. Bye.
Well, look, did you see Kim? Look, she's at the house now. Look, Cherie, when you get in the house and you start typing, Kim got the approval and she's moving in. She's closing on April 15th. Yay, yay. So excited for you, Mama. What's up, Erica Diva? I know, right? House party. We're going to give you time to get settled in, so you let us know. You need to have, sometimes they have a packing party. Girl, you need to have an unpacking party. Help you unpack all them boxes. She said, yes, Lord. Well, look, I know Cherie is listening in as she is making her way inside the house so that she can start typing it on. And you'll bring a cake. Woo, woo! Yes, yes, yes. I think that Kim wants you to make 7-Up pound cake. I think that's what I felt in the spirit, right, Kim? Woo! See, discernment. To God be the glory. The spirit said it, and I receive it. I know that's right. And a sweet potato pie. Woo! See, y'all gonna make me shout already. We haven't even gotten to the word. I'm gonna start shouting. What's up, Lori? Look, I'm telling everybody the good news. Lori, you gotta give a shout out to Kim because she got the house. Settlement is next month in April. Woo woo! I know, right? That's right. 7-Up cake and a pie. You can't have one and not the other. And I will make sure I bring the ice cream. There you go. If we're going to do it, gotta do it right. There you go. Well, look, guys, thank y'all so much for jumping in. You know, you can tell when the ministry year is winding down. Our normal crew, they start kind of like fading in and fading out and fading in and fading out. But you guys are always on. So I appreciate y'all. Cherie, you popped out and popped back in. Oh, I guess she must have got out the car. But guys, we are wrapping up the book of Esther. And this has been an amazing journey. I've learned a lot that I never really paid attention to. You know, we've heard the book of Esther preached so many times on so many different platforms from so many different preachers and pastors. But when you actually start digging into a book and really paying attention to what the text says, it kind of gives you that aha moment like, oh, wow, I never really noticed that before. So I don't know about you guys, but I have really been enjoying this journey. But I am also doubly excited to wrap it up. You know, you can tell when time is winding down and you're starting to feel, you remember when you were in high school or college or what have you, when you were in your senior year, that senioritis starts kicking in. Yeah, that's where I am. That's where I am, the senioritis. I'm ready for the ministry year summer break. What's up, Nicole? How are you, honey? This has been a great pick, Erica. I really been enjoying it. And so we are going to wrap up the last 3 chapters because, to be honest with you, it's not really 3 chapters. I mean, chapter 10 is so small. Chapter 10 has every bit of 3 verses, 3 or 4 verses, and that's it. I don't even know why they made a chapter for chapter 10. They really could have just made it a part of chapter 9 and been done with it. But, oh well, they made it a chapter. So the shortest chapter I've ever seen, I think, in history. Hey, Hey, Miss Nicole. How are you, Nikki? All right, so we left off chapter 7, so we're going to jump right into chapter 8 today. For anybody else that's logging on, you guys know me by now. I'm Mo, Minister Mo, short for Minister Monique. I am the Minister of Discipleship at New Psalmist Baptist Church, where the one and only Bishop Walter Scott Thomas Sr. is our awesome pastor, coming up on his 41st pastoral anniversary. Y'all believe it? He's been preaching at that same church for 41 years. Wow, amazing. God is good. I'm also the minister for this amazing F5 adult group. We are the F5 adult group. There is no other group like us. I think that we're probably one of the top ministries in the New Psalmist Baptist Church. Just want to, put that out there. Just a little, shameless plug. We are great. There you go. Woo, woo. And so every month we do something called F5 Fridays. It's something new that we started, and it's a great way to interact with one another, to connect with one another, also to connect with other adults in our age group bracket, between that 34 to 45 age range. And so this month, because Easter came early for us, this month we're just going to simply do our F5 Fridays, fellowship together at the Good Friday service at New Psalmist. I know some people are not necessarily off from work. It's not what they would consider a national holiday. It's a religious holiday. Although other holidays are religious holidays too, like Easter. Like Christmas, but corporations are closed for Christmas. But anyway, neither here nor there. But a lot of people are not off on Good Friday. So if you're not, it's understandable. Maybe you can tune in on newpsalmist.org. But we will have service, Good Friday service at 12 noon. So if you're available, come on and join us. That's going to be our F5 Friday together, because after service, they're having the New Psalmist famous fish fry. Amazing selections. They're going to have even though it's called a fish fry, come on, y'all. We are a Baptist Black church. We're going to have some chicken up in there. So we're going to have fish. We're going to have chicken. We're going to have crab cakes. It's going to be so many different things that you can choose from. So come on out, hang out with us. If you're available, we would love to see you. So back to the text. We are in chapter 8 of the book of Esther, chapter 8. So looking at the first 2 verses, and I may have to put my glasses on. I know I have those moments where my eyes are just like really crazy. But chapter 8, the first 2 verses, kind of shows me instantly. It's like instantaneous. Looking at the first 2 verses, it shows that basically, in a nutshell, what God has for you, it is for you. That's just the bottom line. There is no other way to explain those 2 verses. What God has for you, it is for you. And even though it may look like someone else is in that position, trust and believe they're only temporarily in that position. That's a temporary hold. They simply keeping the seat warm for you. That's all that is. So that's what we see with Haman, and how the shift when Haman was killed. Because remember, the trap he set up for Mordecai ended up being to his own demise. Remember that? And so instead of Mordecai being hung on a gallows that he actually built so he could hang Mordecai, actually he built it, not realizing he built it for his own demise. So you better be careful setting traps for people, because a lot of times the traps that you setting for someone else is nothing but your own trap. Yeah, so that's for a different day. So anyway, one of the things that intrigued me, and I'm going in early for y'all. I'm going in early. One of the things that intrigued me is that Mordecai, at this point, Mordecai and Esther, because remember in chapter 7, the king asks Esther, what is it that you want me to do? Whatever you ask, it's yours. And so that's when she reveals to him who she is. These are her people. This is what she would like right done. And so he does it as her husband, as the king. Well, now here in chapter 8, what's happening is that he gave Esther and Mordecai permission to write a decree. In writing this decree, it states that the Jews will have the ability to defend themselves. Because remember, back in chapter 3, Haman put a decree in saying that all the Jews will be killed on a particular date. Remember, the date was specified because we talked about how God will delay the enemy's plans to give you time so that you can have victory. Well, lo and behold, the time that was given, victory is coming up. Yes, victory is coming up. And so now God has opened up a way that Mordecai and Esther can put in a decree to write out, again, how they can now defend themselves when the enemy comes. I have a question, though. I have a question about that. Why have them write a second decree? Why not, as the king, why not just void the first decree? Why not just alter the first decree? Remember, if you glance back in chapter 3, Haman wrote the first decree. He did it, of course, out of a lie. Remember, he lied to the king and told the king a certain people was not honoring the king, which wasn't true. It was one man that didn't bow to him, and that was Mordecai. And so because he was caught up in his feelings, because he felt like he was the man, and because he had position and rank, he felt like Mordecai should have bowed down to him. But Mordecai refused. And so out of that anger, he lied to the king. The king blindly agreed to a decree to kill all the Jews, not knowing he was killing Jews. Well, now here we are 5 chapters later in chapter 8. Now that Haman's mess is out, he's been revealed for the scum that he is. Now the table has turned. Esther pleads for the life of her people because she's good. She's safe now. Mordecai is safe now, but their people still aren't safe because that decree is still out there. And so she asks for their safety. And in response to her request, she has Mordecai to write another decree stating that they can defend themselves, and to take that decree and make sure it's shared with all the different providences that the king oversees. Why? Why did he do that? Why not just say, you know what, let me void it out. Let me get rid of it. Why? What's the purpose of writing the second one? Let's see. That was your question too. Okay. Why does the king allow everyone else to write laws and decrees? Okay. Dude, make it right. You still haven't learned your lesson. I know that's right. Well, again, right. Now let me look at your first question. Why does he have everybody else writing decrees? That's a good question. I'm not sure, to be honest with you, but perhaps that's just one of the positions that belong to whoever sat in that seat. Because remember, he didn't allow everybody to write the decrees. He only allowed the secretaries and his right-hand person. Remember, at one point, his right-hand person was Haman. Now, Haman is gone. Mordecai is now being granted this position. So maybe that position, along with the royal secretaries, maybe that position is the position of one who is almost like a lawmaker. You know, for instance, let's look at it in the 21st century. The president of the United States is the president. He is the chief person who rules this country, but he doesn't write or make laws. They come from the House, from the Senate. They have to get passed through the House, through the Senate. They're presented to the president to get his signature. He either okays it or he doesn't okay it, Every now and then he will offer an idea or something to them, but it still has to go through the House and the Senate. So I guess that's kind of like the same rule. The king is not just going to write the law, but it has to go through a process. I don't know if that helped, but that's kind of like the, I guess, the imagery that I see. Okay, perfect. It helps. Early in the book, it stated the king couldn't retract it. That's the answer. Like, Kim, you just on it, girl. I tell you. So another decree could cancel out a decree, just like amendments and Bill of Rights. Exactly. You hit it right on the nose. The king could not stop it, because once the king puts his signet on there, and it wasn't like a John Hancock signature, but his ring. Once he stamped his ring, the emblem on his ring was stamped on there, his signet, he could not cancel it out. He himself, no other person in power, royalty, once it stands, it stands. So you're absolutely right. In order to balance it out or kind of cancel it out without actually saying it's canceled, is to simply write another decree that can kind of, I guess, be that wall for them. And so that's what happened. You are exactly right. So he wrote the decree, which would allow them to go ahead and defend themselves. Now, again, we see here that Haman is sought out as a traitor. And so back in those times, when someone was a traitor, all of what they had was given back to the crown. And remember, in the last book we studied the difference between the king and the crown, and how they always are separated, because a king will perish and die, but the crown stays in authority. Uh-oh, the glasses. I know I can't see today. I don't know what's going on. That ring, that's it. Just giving it to anyone to agree to a decree. Yes, you know what? I feel you. I feel you, Miss Diva, because you know what, Erica, for real, you can't just be giving your ring to people that you have not properly interviewed. That's it. That was his problem with Haman. He didn't consider checking the boy's background. What's your credit score? Have you ever been in jail? What's your problem? What's your history? Get some scoop on somebody. Don't just be giving people power without even knowing if they can handle the power they're given. That's deep right there for me. I don't know about y'all. We got to be careful giving people power without first checking to make sure that this is power they can handle. Because too many people will get power and they will either abuse it or lose it. One of the two. Exactly. Yep. Woo is right. So now, that's what the first two verses cover. When you get down, starting between verses 3 and 11, that big span right there, what we find is that Haman already put in place for the Jews to be killed. We now see that the second decree is issued so that the Jews can defend themselves, right? My question, what was the need for the second decree? I know, and before you guys answer that, I know we already said the need to write a second one was so it can combat the first one. That is true. But what was the need of indicating for the Jews to defend themselves? I mean, wouldn't it be a natural reaction that if somebody is throwing a punch, you better duck? I mean, didn't somebody mama teach them how to fight? You don't just stand there and let somebody come for you now. I mean, somebody, mama, daddy, somebody, didn't they teach you how to, put your dukes up and you square your shoulders and do something? I mean, what do you think? What was the reason? What was the need, the purpose for them to even have to put a decree in place for them to defend themselves? I mean, shouldn't that be natural human instinct to defend, especially since back then women had little power? So if I were to tap into the mind of the men, shouldn't it be natural for the men to want to grab sticks, rocks to throw, whatever they can get their hands on to protect their wives and their children, their homes? Why does somebody have to tell you it's written in law, go ahead and defend yourself? With some answers. Let me hear some thoughts. That's what you will wonder. Okay, Nikki, you need permission to defend yourself? Exactly. I'm feeling you, girl. I'm feeling you. But they're considered lesser than. So they don't naturally fight back. Okay. Look at Erica going deep on us. They are considered lesser than. You're absolutely right. Because they're considered the lesser people, they've been brainwashed. So it's not normal for them to want to fight back. And unfortunately, we as a Black people, we understand that more than anything because our ancestors went through slavery. And going through slavery, you were brainwashed, you were whipped, you were abused, and you were told that you are nobody and you're lesser, and you're less than a man, less than a human. Now, there were some brave souls like Harriet Tubman and some other brave souls that said, you know what? I don't care what you say. I'm more than what you tell me I am. And they fought against it and they pushed their way through. Some of them lost their lives. Some of them triumphed and lived to be well in their old age. But not everybody's that strong. Some people, once they're brainwashed, always brainwashed. Let's go back to biblical history. Look at the children of Israel when they were held captive in Egypt. They wanted to be free. They cried to God, send us a deliverer. Well, it took some years for Moses to get there. But when he finally gets there, they waver. It's like they want to be free. They want to get away. The door is there to get away. And they have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. So much so, when they get to the desert, they start complaining again. You brought us out here to die? We might as well go back. At least back there, we had shelter. At least back there, we had food to eat. 3 square meals a day. You know, so then they started looking at their bondage situation as being better than the freedom that they asked God for. And sometimes that's exactly where we are. If we're not careful, especially ladies, and yes, I'm going to get on us tonight, especially when it comes to relationships. Sometimes, you know, that one dude, that guy, he was just a bomb in everything. He made you feel like a queen for a day. Only for a day. He let you feel like a queen for the day. And then after that, that Negro went from Dr. Jekyll to Mr. Hyde. And when you finally got out of the relationship, but then God had you in solitude for a couple of months, you like, well, man, I would like a date every now and then. Then before you know it, your mind starts going back, well, you know what? Jeremy wasn't all that bad. I mean, you know, he had his faults, but maybe. No, don't try to go back to the bondage that you know God delivered you from. The devil is a liar. I will kill that demon right now, tonight. Absolutely. All right, what we got? Technically, even though they weren't in captivity any longer, they were in a foreign land. They were in a foreign land. And you know what? Captivity, remember, it's not just physical. It's also mental. They were still in mental bondage. But yes, you are absolutely right, Kim. They were in a foreign land. That's not easy. It's not easy to kind of find your foothold when you're in unfamiliar territory. Absolutely right. Dang, not even a whole weekend. No, he only treats you like a queen for a day. I'm sorry, just a day, not the weekend, just a day. My mama said amen on that when I'm at her house. Hey, Ma, how are you? So glad you can join us. Okay, so Yes, so that's why that second decree had to be made, because even though they were no longer in physical captivity or physical bondage, they were still in mental bondage, and because of everything they had been through. And so that mental bondage, and also the brainwashing that happened to them generation after generation after generation, just kind of settled in them that they were the lesser people. And as the lesser people, you don't fight that. And so that's why a decree had to be made to let them know that, you know what, you've been given the authority to stand your ground and to fight back and pretty much say enough is enough. And so in verse 12, we see the new decree taking place and them being able to go ahead and move forward. Thank y'all for the hand claps. I appreciate it. I love you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so they go ahead and they move forward. But what the Jews didn't see was back in chapter 3. Back in chapter 3, verse 13, remember Haman, when he set his decree, remember it was to go into effect the 13th day of the 12th month. Remember that? And that's when we said God will hold the enemy's plans to give you time. Well, this decree was to also go into effect the 13th day of the 12th month. And see, what the Jews didn't see back then, which some of us, when we reflect back on how God has delivered us or held back the enemy's plans, is that they didn't see how God delayed the enemy's attacks just so they can prepare for battle. Sometimes God will delay the enemy's attacks on your life so that you can prepare for battle. You don't even realize that he's holding back the enemy's plans. Sometimes, when you know how in your prayer you say, God, I thank you for protection from danger seen and unseen. Bam, there you go. That was that unseen danger right there. They didn't even know what was coming their way. But now all of a sudden, out of what they consider out of nowhere comes a decree that we can defend ourselves. Well, defend ourselves from what? Somebody trying to start something? What's going on? Because they didn't even know that first decree even existed. So God gave them time to prepare for the battle. And the church said, amen. And so this chapter closes out with not only the Jews celebrating, but now they are acknowledging how people from their nationalities became a Jew. Isn't that crazy? Did y'all see that? The way this chapter ended, they're celebrating because they have this decree. They're excited because now we can defend ourselves. Oh, we're so happy. We can fight our enemies off. But not only are they celebrating, but look at here. Look at the very last verse in chapter 8. The very last verse, very last sentence of verse 17. It says, and many people of other nationalities became Jews because they feared the Jews would seize them. The very ones who thought that they were the lesser people, the very ones who thought they were the weaker person, didn't even realize how much power they had. They had so much power that once their enemies caught wind that they were given the okay to defend themselves, the enemy said, you know what? I need to just become friends with them. So when you see your enemies trying to butter up to you and become friends, that's because they got wind about the power you have. Woo! I'm about to shout on that one. When they trying to butter you up, get close, and become a part of your circle, it's because your enemies just got wind about the power that God has given you. And so they caught wind. And those persons who were from other nationalities, they're not even Jew. They even converted themselves and became a Jew, just so the Jews won't fight them. Basically, in a nutshell, they were scared. They were scared, y'all. I know that's right. We are equipped for the victory. That's a shout right there. We are equipped for the victory. Let me go on over here and become a Jew. I got good fish. I know that's right. They sure do. That's sorry, y'all. We're going to have some good fish on Good Friday. Yum, yum, yum. I just got to find somebody to bake mine because I can't eat fried. But I'm going to get me something to eat on Good Friday. You better believe that. So anyway, that's how that chapter closed out. And so it pushes us right into chapter 9. Chapter 9 was good. I really liked chapter 9. I don't know about you guys, but I did. I really liked it. And so chapter 9, the first 2 verses opens up with telling us how what the enemy meant for evil, God turns around for our good. And it shows that because if you look at it, it says how on this day, the enemies of the Jews, that they had hoped to overpower. You know, the enemies had hoped to overpower the Jews. Well, yeah, the tables were turned. God flipped that thing around. And when he flipped it around, the Jews now had the upper hand. So basically, what the enemy meant for evil, God turned that thing right around in your favor. But then it continues. It continues, guys, with how no one could stand against them because others were afraid. No one. It didn't say some people. It didn't say a few people. It said no one could stand against them because others were afraid. You see, not only will God empower you to stand against your enemies, but he'll also cause your enemies to fall subject to your leadership. I'm going to say it again. Not only will God empower you to stand against your enemies, but God will also cause your enemies to fall subject to your leadership. Yeah, woo on that one, Kim. So, just when you think that your enemies have the upper hand, hold on, because God has a way of getting them to fall subject to your leadership. Now, I want you to think about a time when your haters came for you. You probably don't even have to think that far back. It probably just happened today. It probably didn't preach to the situation. I know that's right. Look, don't start me shouting, Cherie. I'm trying to teach. Don't start me shouting. You better leave me alone. But yes, Lord, that's a word. That's a word. That's a word right there. Okay, so think about the situation, guys. Think about the time your haters came for you. I'm quite sure y'all got something. Y'all probably got a whole Rolodex of those moments. And before you could blink, you actually watch God turn it around. Think of a moment when your haters were coming for you. I mean, they were coming for you hard. And before you could even blink, God began to turn that thing around. How did your enemies react to that? And how did you handle that? I would like to know. Inquiring minds want to know. How did you handle it? And how did your enemies react? Did some of your enemies become like the enemies of the Jews? How some of them got so scared they actually just converted and became Jew so that the Jews wouldn't fight them? So in other words, did some of your enemies change their ways and befriend you to actually be on your team? Or did your enemies continue to throw shade? Or did your enemies try to amp it up? Or did your enemies just simply succumb to your leadership? And however they reacted, how did you handle it? Did you handle it gracefully? Did you get caught in your feelings? Sometimes we get caught in our feelings. Hey, y'all, we human. We Christian. We love God, but we human too. We have emotions. We have feelings. And let me tell you, English is not my only language. Hello. I do know how to speak another language. Very fluently, I may add. So, yeah. Okay, so, all right, some answers. Let me see. Come on, y'all. I know you don't have to think that far back. Y'all know y'all enemies be coming at y'all on a regular basis, especially on them crazy jobs y'all work. I know y'all working some crazy jobs. I know it. We all got some crazy folk in the workplace. So I know y'all have some people that come for you. When they come for you, those moments that you watch God turn that thing around, how did they handle it? And how did you handle it? While you guys are typing, I'll give you one scenario. When we were living in Ohio and I was working for Nationwide, someone tried to take a position away from me because I was in line of being promoted. Well, I ended up getting the promotion. And when I got the promotion, the other person who also interviewed for that position realized that they had no choice but to soften their heart, because the different things that they needed to get signed off had to come past my desk, had to come past my cubicle. Now, little did that person know, I would not have been vengeful. Is that a word? Did I just make that word up? I wouldn't have held vengeance in my heart. How about that? Woo, okay, that's better. Little did that person know, I wasn't the type of person that I was going to hold vengeance in my heart. That's just not me. I mean, Cherie can testify. She can call me out right now, right here on social media. She can call me out. That's just not me. I mean, persons will try something. Yeah, I'll get upset. Yeah, I'll get mad. I'll blow off steam. But I'm not going to try to, have vengeance against them. That's just not who I am. And so, but in her mind, because vengeance is something that she would have done, it caused her to be on guard. And because she now found herself in a position of being on guard, it caused her heart to soften. So a lot of times you don't have to do anything. Continue to be you and watch God work it all out. And that's exactly what he did. So let me see. I'm still dealing with mine. Maybe I'll have an update next week. Okay. Well, we'll be waiting for your update next week. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Well, okay. Yeah, Erica, you done said a whole lot. Wait a minute. Let me get to Kim. Somebody usually ended up eating a piece of humble pie. And the supervising manager sided with me. Amen. Amen. And you know what? I think that is, I think that's so important. I think it's so important when we can find our upper management to have our backs. Now, I'm not saying that we never do wrong. You know, the devil is a liar. All of us have faults. I'm not saying that we never, ever do wrong. But to know that your upper management has your back, it makes you want to be an even better employer, or employee, I should say, a better employee. But if you feel like you have to fight both coworker and supervisor, or both coworker and manager, then that just makes for an ugly situation. And the person basically is just not happy to go to work. And so before you know it, you're calling out sick, not because you're sick, you're just sick of going to work. And so, yeah, that doesn't leave for a good recipe at all. So that's excellent. Way to go, Kim. Okay, what more? Oh, thanks, Riri. Thanks. All right, Erica, let's see what this big old dissertation you done wrote. Okay, when I quit my job, the boss, who was nasty, realized I was leaving. with a ton of experience. Okay, relationship. So he then wanted to try his best to keep me. I always stated I would only give them 1 week to leave, but I gave them 2 and rolled out smiling. You know what? That's probably one of the best Christian moves you could have ever done. And that is to just be honest with them. Let them know, hey, you know what? I can give you 1 week. But instead, you graciously gave them a 2nd week and you left smiling. You didn't leave fussing. You didn't leave with hatred in your heart. You left peacefully because you knew that God had already settled in your spirit. It's time to move because he had bigger and better things for you. And it's amazing that sometimes people have to lose something to realize the value in what they had. Sometimes we have to lose something to realize the value in what we had. A lot of times we hear that statement when it comes to relationships. You know, when you're dating somebody and you break up, and it's like when you break up, they realize they had a good woman or she realized she had a good man. And so when they realize the person is gone, they're like, oh man, I really messed that up. And if they really want it back, they'll fight to get you back. Well, that concept is true, but it's not just in relationships. As we see from Erica's example, that can also happen on the job, where a job, if you're not careful, some corporations can and will take advantage of you. But once you show them, you know what? I know my worth. I know the experience and the skills that I have. I know what I bring to the table. And I will simply take what I have and take what I know somewhere else. And when they realize, oh my God, this person had a ton of experience, a ton of knowledge, a ton of what we need in order for this company to succeed, they'll come around. Then it may be too late. Because like Erica, sister girl already rolled out. So you should have valued me while you had me. And that's where they mess up. Persons need to learn to value you while they have you. And when they don't value you, it's time to bounce. That's just the bottom line. Peace, deuces. They just filled my position last month. I have been gone since September. Wow. Wow. Kept sending cards asking me to come back. You know why? Because you were valued more than they were willing to admit. That's exactly why. And look at that. It took them from September to last month. So this is what, March? It took them from September to February. They just filled it last month. From September to February to just fill that position. You left a mighty footprint in that company. That's all I can say, girl. You left a mighty footprint. Same thing happened to me twice. Wow. Man, what kind of companies y'all work for? Woo, Jesus. But yes, you are valued more than you realize. And now that they have discovered, but too late for them. All righty, moving on. That was good. That was a good conversation, guys. Thank y'all for the hand claps. Okay, so now moving on. We see in verse 4, we're still in chapter 9. Verse 4, the text talks about the greatness of Mordecai. Now, the greatness of Mordecai. Did y'all see? Y'all see that? Verse 4? I'm going to read it to you. It says, Mordecai was prominent in the palace. His reputation spread throughout the provinces, and he became more and more powerful. We now see a shift is happening. You guys, did you guys catch that shift? There's a shift going on where we are now seeing favor on Mordecai. Now, somebody may be thinking, well, yeah, the favor left from Haman to Mordecai. And if that's what you're thinking, you would be 100% right. 100% right. However, before we get to that part, before we get to the part of the Haman and Mordecai, think of it or look at it through a different lens. This book is entitled the Book of Esther. We have heard many preachers and pastors teach from this book, preach from this book, and in doing so, they have always talked about how Esther had favor on the king. They've always preached her famous line, "If I perish, let me perish." They've always talked about how she took over the crown when Vashti was being disobedient. They've always talked about her beauty and her humbleness and her devotion to her people and to God. Every time we've heard this book in the Bible preached or taught, Esther, from whom the book is named after, has always been the focal point. She has always been the center of attention in all conversations during the preaching moment and the teaching moment. And yet, the one person who never, ever disclaims or discredits God, the one person who stays humble throughout this entire journey, the one person who would not bow down because he said, "No, the only one I bow to is God." The one person who did not try to plead his case to the king, but simply went straight to God when he put on sackcloth and dust on his head. He was in mourning to God. "God, I did no wrong. Help me, help my people." The one guy who stayed humble, the one person who Haman attempted to set up, that's the person that God used when he says that his goodness will now bring him greatness. And so even though the queen is being asked by King Xerxes, "What do you desire? What is your request? What do you have me to do? Whatever you ask of me, I will do it." Yes, the king is asking her this. But if you look at the one who actually gets the overflow of blessings, it is not her. It's Mordecai, the one that was overlooked, the one that was lied on, the one that was the least expected, is the one that got the greatest blessing. You are probably the one on your job that was overlooked for the position. You're probably the one that people least expected to climb up so fast in the ranks. You're probably the one that people just said, "Oh, where'd she come from? Where'd he come from?" And yet, you're the very one that God will move into greatness. That is a sermon, The Quiet Power on the Side. Well, hey, that's a shout right there. The quiet power on the side. Amen. You don't always have to be in the forefront. You don't have to be just because you're a good salesman and you can talk anybody into buying anything does not mean that you can talk to God's people. Sometimes the power is in the quietness, because when you have a outward quietness, you are strong on the inside. The people who are really strong on the inside, they don't have to be loud about it. They don't have to be boastful about it. Let me tell y'all something. I love Kim. That's why I'm picking on her tonight, because I'm just so excited for her. God is just giving her overflow blessings. Persons like Kim, I see as a mighty force in the kingdom. All of y'all are mighty forces, but I'm just picking on Kim tonight. You know, every now and then, you guys will notice I'll pick on y'all, different times. Well, this is me picking on Kim tonight. Y'all okay with that? I hope y'all okay. Okay, I see some hand claps. Okay, good. Because I think it's important that every now and then we encourage one another. And so tonight, I just want to encourage her, because she's a quiet person. Her natural personality is quiet. But sometimes it's the ones that's quiet. Let me tell you, she can probably pray down a mighty river, a mighty storm that will wipe you out. Don't push Kim. Don't don't you push her. Girlfriend will go into that prayer closet and she will call on every angel she know from heaven. And she will call on the power of the Holy Spirit. And you will wonder why when you woke up the next day, your foot was hurting, your hip was hurting, and your vision was blurred. Because Kim done went inside that closet and started praying on you. But you are so right. You are so right, Erica. There is a quiet storm on the side. The ones that appear to be the quietest are just the ones who may be the strongest. So yes, absolutely, absolutely. Kim, you know I love you, right? I always say, don't mess with a child of God. You don't know our power. Amen. That's right. They don't know y'all power. Y'all are so powerful. And even if you are a person with what I call a exciting personality. For instance, that's my natural personality. First of all, my natural voice tone is high pitched. That's my natural voice tone. And it matches my natural personality. My natural personality is excitable. Some people have a personality that's somewhere on where I am. Some people have a personality that's quiet like him. And then some people are in the middle between the two. It doesn't matter where your personality line sits. I believe everything that's on this statement right here, that when you are a child of God, you have more power in you than even you know. You only tap the surface. When you start praying, honey, let me tell you, that's just the surface. Yeah, it's good to pray. Keep praying. It keeps you connected to the Father. But understand, it's more of that hasn't even been unwrapped yet. So when you are a true child of God, yes, don't cross us, y'all, because we got power. I got the power. Woo! What's that, the sound of blackness? I don't went way back. All right, y'all. All right, so, God darn it, where are we? I'm fooling with y'all. I don't even know where we are now. Okay, let me find out. Okay, so. It's past my bedtime. You are so right. Oh my God. Y'all just don't understand the night I've had. I didn't get to bed until after 3 o'clock this morning. Y'all, 3 o'clock this morning, I was at Sinai Hospital with my husband. He's doing okay. I don't want anybody like, oh my God, what happened? No, he's doing fine. He's home resting. And so I've been home resting with him today. But you know, you guys, just a slight sidebar, take care of yourself. It looked like he had a touch of pneumonia, so he's locked in the house for a couple of days, which is driving him crazy. But you know what? Take care of yourself. With the changeless weather, you know, a lot of people getting sick, and it looks like flu symptoms, but it could be pneumonia, which is what he had a touch of, or has a touch of. You know, he's taking his antibiotics and stuff now. But, you know, you guys take care of yourself. If you feel like it's a flu symptom, if your fever not breaking, and that's what caused us to go to the emergency room, his fever would not break. If you're fighting with that fever, take yourself to the hospital. Drink plenty of fluids. Keep yourself hydrated and get some medical attention. Please, y'all, do that for me. All right? All righty. Thank you. Yes, continue to pray for him. Continue to pray. We're both tired today, but it's all good. It's all good. So, yes. Just because it looks like you're being ignored for what you bring to the table, God is about to set you up to take the lead. I just want to tell y'all that. Even though it may look like you're being ignored, whether it's on your job, whether it's in your ministry, whether it's among your family, whether it's among your friends, if it looks like you're being ignored, don't worry. God is about to set you up to take the lead. Get ready, y'all. Some of y'all about to step into a new leadership position. God is setting you up. And I can't wait because we're going to celebrate that thing. And so that pushes us down to verses 5 through 10. And here the Jews, they strike down all of their enemies, including the 10 sons of Haman. Did y'all see that, right? Verses 5 through 10, it shows that they kill all of their enemies, including the 10 sons of Haman. What's that? Why are you calling me out? Oh, you fussing at me, Cherie? Now that's important. That's important to note, guys, that not only did they kill the enemies, but they also killed the 10 sons of Haman, because it's different. It's one thing to kill the head being Haman in this case. But if you're not careful, the infection will continue to spread through the body. So which means you got to kill the whole thing. And to kill the whole thing, that meant that they had to kill the whole bloodline. That's right. As long as, let me see if I can bring it to the anatomy, the body, the anatomy. As long as there is blood running through our veins, we can still breathe. We can still live. As long as the blood flow keeps flowing. Because remember, the blood goes in the heart through one artery and out the heart through the other. Because it'll bring in, I think, like oxygen, let out carbon monoxide. And so the flow of the blood keeps everything going, from your heart to your lungs, your kidneys. So as long as there's blood flow, you can stay alive. But the minute you know how some people will try to take their self out and they will cut their self right here for whatever reason, some demonic force done got into their head and convinced them that life is not worth living. The devil is a liar. And so when he convinces them that, they cut their self right here trying to take their self out. There's a main artery in this area of our wrist. And when you cut it right here, that's when you bleed the fastest and you lose blood quickly, which is how they commit suicide. Well, in order for that to happen, they had to cut that main artery. And so the main artery to Haman were his 10 sons, because it would have done nothing but continue to breed hatred from that bloodline. And his sons would have continued to carry out that hatred and try to kill the next generation of Jews, and then the next generation of Jews, and then their sons would try to kill, and then their sons and their sons and their sons. You see what I'm saying? So you have to cut it at the bloodline. Sounds a little sounds scary, doesn't it? But sometimes that's what you have to do. You have to cut it at the source, at the bloodline. But then verse 10, after they killed everybody, including Haman's 10 sons, verse 10 tells us they did not take the plunder. In other words, the spoils. Because remember, back in the biblical days, when you defeat someone, the spoils, meaning their things, whether it's, wealth, whether it's their sheep, their donkeys, their wives, whatever the plunder or the spoils were, people would take it once they defeated them. But here, the Jews did not. Quickly. Why? There was a greater purpose. I like that, Miss Erica. Disinfect the whole thing. Yes, Lord. Call Mr. Clean. Disinfect the whole thing. Okay, anybody else? Because there was a greater purpose. I like that, Cherie. And it was a greater purpose. Somebody else. Why do you think that's important to note? That the Jews did not take any of the plunder, any of the spoils. Why do you think? I love Cherie's answer. It was a greater purpose. Anybody have one more? Before I give my answer? Well, you might be thinking or typing. Also, I believe that the reason they didn't take it is because that was not part of their initial reason for fighting. Their whole reason for fighting was simply to be on the defense. not the offense. I know a little something about football, y'all. They were on the defense. They weren't the ones, they were not the offense. They weren't the ones coming for you. They were the ones defending their territory. And so remember, that's what the decree said. The decree said that they will be able to defend themselves when their enemies attack. And so when you look at biblical history, a lot of times those that would gather the plunder or take the spoils were normally the ones that were on the offense. They were the ones coming for you. Remember when we read the book of Daniel and King Nebuchadnezzar, how he not only kidnapped Daniel and his friends, but took the spoils? Well, that's because he was going in. He was the one coming for them. But in this situation, they're simply like, hey, we staying home, we chilling, we still, but we on guard. Because if you come for us, we going to fight you. So basically, that's what it was. Okay, I see some comments here. So others would know it wasn't about the plunder, goods, wealth, and power. Amen. That was to set an example, to let others know, we're not fighting you for what you have. We fight you just for the right of life. We don't want what you have. We are fighting you off because we have a right to life. Amen. I like that answer, Nikki. Fighting for survival, not things. You got it. Oh, my battery's dying. Oh no, we losing Erica. Her battery's dying. Plug it up, girl. Plug it up. We almost done. We almost done. I want to go ahead and knock this out. You guys, y'all hanging in there with me? Yes, no? Oh, maybe not. I'm going to keep it going. I'm going to keep it going, Erica. You can always, if your battery dies, you'll be able to watch it, later. But okay, so again, we see King Xerxes in verses 11 through 15. We see King Xerxes asking Esther once again, what is her petition? What does she want? And the king is being, to me, he's being like overly generous. I mean, he's like, baby, what is it? What do you want? I gave you a first thing. I'll give you a second thing. And at first I was trying to figure out, why is he being overly generous to her? Well, I don't know about you guys, but I figured this must be guilt. What do y'all think? He sounds like the guilt, because not guilt that he necessarily did anything wrong, but guilt to the fact that he allowed Haman to trick him. And he also, in that trickery, didn't realize that he set a decree in place to kill his wife's people. And so I think that the guilt set in. And so that's why every time we turn around, he's like, baby, what else do you want? He give it to her. All right, baby, what else you want? I got you. What else you want? And sometimes that's reality, guys. Sometimes guilt will eat you so much that you feel like if I just keep doing whatever I can to please someone, that it will take away or fix that thing that I feel guilty about. And so that's what I believe happened in this case. But now, as we go on down, we see that the Jews begin to rest. They fighting all their enemies in the different areas in Susa, in other areas of the province that King Xerxes oversees. And now they decide to rest. And they choose the 14th and the 15th day to do that. And when they do that, they turn around and they realize, you know what? We should celebrate this. So Mordecai makes it an annual celebration for the Jews. So annually on the 14th and the 15th day of the month, of that particular month, they celebrate. And what they're celebrating is they're celebrating that this is the day that God saved us. This is the day that we were relieved. This is the day that God freed us. And so I have a question. As African American people, what is our annual celebration? Because we have one too. What's our annual celebration? No, not Black Friday. Black Friday, that's just the month that we're given to learn about our heritage. And of course, we're given the shortest month of the year, I tell you. But What is our annual celebration? We have one also. They have an annual celebration for themselves, that this is the time that God delivered us from our enemies. Just like they celebrated when they escaped from Egypt. Now the Jews are celebrating deliverance once more. Juneteenth. I can never pronounce that word. Juneteenth. I wish somebody was on audio so you could say it. But yes, Juneteenth. Juneteenth. How do you know what? One day I'm going to pronounce that word correctly. Gosh darn it. Yes, that is our time. Oh, I did it. Oh, woohoo. Thank you. Thank you for the hand claps. Thank you. Yes, that is our time that we celebrate as an African-American people. And so their annual celebration, they called it Purim, Purim. They labeled theirs Purim. And so verse 27 and verse through 32, that takes us straight through the end of chapter 9, verses 27 through 32. It just simply talks about Esther and Mordecai guaranteeing the Jews' ability to celebrate. And the way that they guarantee that they can celebrate is, well, we already saw it earlier, write a decree. That's the way that they guarantee stuff back then. Write a decree, because they know when a decree is written and once the king's signet is on there, it can't be broken. And so once more, when the king asks, what else would you like? This was her opportunity to get it etched in stone so that no one can remove it. Now, that doesn't mean years later a new king can't write a decree to overpower that decree. But at least for these next few hundred years, or however many years, they at least have something in place where they are allowed to celebrate annually because they defeated their enemies who came to try to kill them. And so that took us into the shortest chapter I've ever seen. Chapter 10 with only, 3 to 4 verses. I don't even know why they made it a chapter. This was like crazy to me. But anyway, they did. And all it really talks about is that Haman tried to discredit the name of Mordecai and take out the bloodline of the Jews. Yet the trappings that he built for Mordecai was to his own demise. And so because of all of that transpired in the earlier chapters, chapter 10 now just simply highlights the blessings that Mordecai has received. Not only did Mordecai receive Haman's old position, but Mordecai received it with additional overflow. So a lot of times when someone mistreats their position, when they're given a position and they don't know how to handle it, they better be careful, because God is watching everything we do. And he has absolutely no problem in taking that position from them and giving it to the one that deserves it. And then when he gives it to the one who deserves it, he will give it to them with extra overflow. Extra overflow can come in a bigger paycheck. It can come in a bigger office. It can come in any kind of direction. But be careful mistreating positions that God gives you, because he will surely give it to the one who deserves it. And that's what happened in this situation. Haman mistreated the position that he had as the king's right-hand person. He was supposed to be there to support the king's vision and to bring harmony in the land, because that's the kind of king he served and worked for. But he did not. He chose to have anger and hatred in his heart and attempted to take out a whole bloodline of people. And so what did God do? The very one that Haman tried to kill is the very one that God blessed. And now he's 6 feet under and Mordecai chilling with his possessions. So be careful how you treat people. Dirty, dirty, dirty. Be careful how you treat people. What's this? Miss Mo, today. All right. Today is Purim on the Jewish calendar. Really? Wow. I did not. Wait a minute. I did not know that. Huh. Nice. So we follow the Holy Calendar. It's Purim today, Monday, Thursday. Yep, Good Friday ended. That's true. Wow. Look at you, Kim. You're such a scholar. I love it. I love it when we learn together. And that's what it's all about. We're all here to support each other. We're all here to learn together. You may have some information, or you may discover something that wasn't talked about, or that was talked about in a context, but maybe you have something to add to the table. We all have something to add. So guys, never be afraid to jump in, type some stuff in there, and empower the rest of us. Let us all learn something new. So way to go, Kim. Thank you. My boss is Jewish. Only reason I know. That's okay. Hey, let me tell you, it don't matter how you know it. If you know it because you work with a Jewish person, if you know it because you have Jewish people in your family, whatever your reason for knowing it, you knew the answer. And so, Kim, we applaud you. Thank you, love. Well, guys, that's it for the book of Esther. It was great. Again, I think my I call him my big little brother, because he's my little brother in age, but he's taller than me, so he's my big little brother. But I think my big little brother, Devin, who jumped in a couple of weeks ago for me, it was a great session. I thoroughly enjoyed listening to the replay. You guys had a great time with it. I saw y'all comments. I thank y'all for hanging with me throughout the rest of the chapters of this book. Thank y'all for the great dialogue, the good questions, the homework that we had, all of it. I enjoyed all of it. So y'all know what happens, that when we get to the end, before we jump into another one, let's fellowship. Come on out and let's fellowship together. Bring some people who may not be a part of this. Get them connected. Because we want to keep that. A lot of our F5 young adults, they still talk about how they miss meeting face-to-face on a regular basis. This has become convenient for a lot of us, especially those of us who travel back and forth to the church a lot. So this is very convenient. But there are some that still miss coming face-to-face. Well, those persons that that have shared it with you, they say, oh man, I keep forgetting, I miss seeing you guys. They're the very ones that need to come and fellowship with us next week. So next week, we're going to fellowship at the Golden West Cafe. It's right off of Falls Road. It looks like it's probably a little bit closer for those people on the east side, right, Bree? I think that this brings it a little closer for you guys. Y'all always coming west. We're going to come over to y'all neck of the woods. So next week, next Wednesday, 7 p.m., we're going to meet at the Golden West Cafe. Watch our Facebook, look out on social media. We'll, remind people and everything. But this Friday, F5 Friday, we're going to fellowship together at New Psalmist Baptist Church for the 12 o'clock Good Friday service, Mission Impossible. And we're going to have a fish fry afterwards. It's going to be a great time. And if anybody have any questions, shoot us a note on our social media at the F5 group. Other than that, I thank y'all so much for hanging in there with me tonight. I love you guys. Can't wait to see everybody next week. If I don't talk to you before Sunday, happy resurrection, happy Easter. Love you. God bless. Good night.